What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review the debut album by singer and rapper Pitbull. Basically, this product is called Miami, which is basically an acronym which stands for Money as a Major Issue, and it came out in the summer of 2004. The aim of this particular project is this is brought to you by Lil Jon, so this is on his former TVT Records label. I think TVT had something to do with Lil Jon. I don't know if that was like his full-blown label, but he was definitely affiliated with that back in the 2000s. So he executive produces this particular product. Pretty big deal. This was a smash hit fellow back in the 2000s. Pitbull obviously is a ubiquitous name by this particular stage. Back in like the early 2000s, he had been around since like the early mid 2000s as far as pitches like that kind of particularly happened. So pretty good surprise here just because of the fact that Pitbull normally on most of his albums it was pretty ferocious in terms of like the club appetite and pitches like that and his overall social activity, and this album is no exception. For 2004, this is definitely state of the art. Now this is not going to get a classic score, but it's definitely going to get pretty damn close. This project is definitely a pretty big deal, and I would definitely recommend it quite easily. I'd have to say it's just a concept got to the fifth single, had a lot of good promotion about it, just some good concepts, just some good hits. Had, like I was saying, had Lil Jon affiliation. The chick Ubi that's done a number of songs with Lil Jon is on here a few times. She does a pretty good job on here. There's some folks like Bun B, Fat Joe. It says that Lil Scrappy's on here. I didn't see that as much, but Trick Daddy's at least on here. Some great productions, just an excellent type concept. This is a pretty good amalgamation. I mean, just the fact, like, it's just interesting that Pitbull was kind of tearing things up as far back as 2004, just because the concept of how dominant he was back in 2011 and 2013 and 2015 and some of those type of years. So it's just an interesting concept, this being part of Pitbull's legacy, and this is just a smash hit right out the gate as far as that pitch can have. So it's just a real nice one. This is kind of like pseudo Miami flavored crunk. I'd have to say Pitbull is from Florida and Miami as far as that pitch kind of particularly happens with it. So it's just a good concept with this Lil Jon affiliation with him being from Atlanta, just getting like the concept of some crunk type music. If you like Lil Jon from like his Kings of Crunk days from 2002 and pitches like that with a little bit of Crunk Juice. I mean, Crunk Juice wasn't out by the time Crunk Juice wasn't out yet when this particular album came out, but just some of those relative type pitches, Crunk Juice, Kings of Crunk, some of that type fare, just with like a more Miami fried version of that. This is a pretty excellent concept to kind of get here. Really works extremely well. Just for like boat cruise type music, summery, just beach type fare and pitches like that. Just good watery type tunes as far as that pitch kind of has with it. Just a lot of excellent type stuff here. It's pretty good. Get some tan type music and just overall get crunk pitches like that. Just overall great smokage, strip club, nightclub type fare as far as that pitch can have. It's excellent stuff. So, Devil said this project was a pretty big deal. Just did a lot for how things particularly kind of went. So like I was saying, there's 5 singles off this particular product. The first one was Kulo. This is a pretty nice one. I think this stands for ass as far as that particular pitch kind of goes. Big booty bitches as far as that particular kind of happens. But Kulo is a nice one. It's like a nice kickstart. Kulo is like a nice kickstart, fiery club hopper. I'd have to say in particular, it's like a great early Pitbull hit. I would definitely feel like, and this is crazier than lots of stuff that was out 2000s wise. I would definitely have to feel like, so it's a pretty dope concept. Kind of get some of that. Is the concept. I think this particularly samples like, I want to say this particularly samples like a Nina Sky song, some pitches like that, has that same beat from around that time. I think it was like Movie Body, something like that. That was a big song late 2003, early 2004 around this particular time. So it's a pretty nice summer hitter, but like I said, this barely feels like a 2000s hit just because of the quality behind it. Just the nightclub. I mean, there were not a lot of folks doing nightclub energy and just overall dance club crazes like Pitbull around this time. I mean, apart from in some cases like Yin Yang Twins, some of those type folks, but Pitbull basically lived in those particular social nightlife type fairs as far as that pitch can happen. I mean, he definitely advanced this sound in like the 2010s, but as far back as 2004, this was definitely state of the art in terms of its craziness. Kulo is definitely a pretty fiery song. That's Nasty is a pretty good hitter as well. It's another good quality one. It's like a day after hours kind of sleaze of a song. I definitely would feel like this like an in between bop for like switching from work shift. It's like a good in between bop for switching from work shift fare to more outing buzz. I would definitely say about this song. This song excites pretty well, I'd say. So it's just a pretty good concept. It's a real nice sleaze type one to kind of get here to appreciate the concept of this particular one. Not as crazy as Kulo or Backup or Damn It Man, some of those type pitches, but it is a pretty nice one. Just kind of get in between as far as that pitch can happen. It's just the after effects that just got done with work or class, some of those type pitches as far as that particular kind of happens. Just get some snackage pitches like that. Just get like slice of pizza, some beef jerky, some pitches like that at a gas station. Just prepare to kind of figure out what's going to go on with the rest of the night. Just kind of the initial kind of smoke one, just feel good a little bit and figure out what's going to happen for the rest of the day or night as far as that pitch kind of goes. Real nice kind of relative, just buzz type song to kind of figure things out for the evening. Backup is a pretty nice one. I do like this one, like all five of the singles really, but this is a good concept here. It's like a refined kind of social bop. I would definitely have to say it's like a decently more presentable song. Is decently more presentable. I'd have to say about this one. Not quite as crazy as ferocious as like Kulo or Damn It Man or some of those type ones, but what I'd say it's a pretty nice one. It's like a solid switch up from like the usual songs, like a solid switch up from like the usual crunk craziness. I would have to say, and it slaps pretty good. I'd have to suppose. So it's definitely a pretty nice hitter of one. It's a good concept, kind of get like some refined crunk type music as far as that pitch kind of happens. This might have been produced by Lil Jon. I'm gonna look and see if it was. No, it wasn't produced by Lil Jon, but just being able to say Lil Jon is affiliated with a number of these. He definitely is pretty hands-on with this particular project, which is pretty awesome. Just because I want to say that Lil Jon was not as full-blown with Pitbull later on. Maybe like his 2006 album, maybe the 2005 remix album. For the most part, past like about 2009 or so, I'd probably say that Pitbull is less affiliated, but it's still pretty. Or probably say that Lil Jon is less affiliated, but this is some good concepts. Backup is a nice one, like I was saying, real refined, sophisticated crunk. Toma is a pretty nice one, which this one basically means to take some pitches like that, just to get something like that, to drink, to get, to grab, to get a chica pitches like that. As far as that particular kind of happens, good concept for that. It's like a jury kind of evening feeling buzzed. I would have to say about this particular song, this initial club kickoff. I would definitely feel like this like an earlier in the night than like Kulo. I'd have to say, but still pretty cray type song. I would definitely feel like so. It's just a good concept like this one. Toma is like a relatively high type song I'd have to say in particular. Definitely to have some smokage in your system, pitches like that, feeling a little dreary, just the initial tipsiness of having some of that relative buzz just within the evening as far as that pitch kind of happens. Probably, I mean, I feel like That's Nasty and Toma are like the two ones for either just right before the real tear up type songs like Damn It Man and Kulo and Backup and some of those type ones just within the pitch behind it. But I really feel like Backup is just on a different night from like the rest of these singles on here. I feel like most of these singles, apart from Backup, can probably be played within the same night of just the wooziness. That's Nasty and Tome are like the kickoff type ones, and Damn It Man and Cooler are like later on in the night. I'd have to say Backup is just a more refined, different type outing for like a different, more graceful type tone. Toma definitely has some of that appeal, just feeling a little bit of smokage in your system, pitches like that, pretty woozy, dreary, queasy. A hit song I remember from Pitbull back in the day, which is a pretty fiery type one, is Damn It Man. Definitely enjoy this one. This is a real jiving, kind of busier nightclub outing of a song, I'd have to say. This is like a good errands type music, real good one for on the go pitches like that, especially in like the night type fair, just getting some stuff done and like night out activity. This song definitely gives excitement, I'd have to say, and it's definitely like a spiffy kind of buzz hit, I'd have to say. It's a pretty dope concept, kind of get this one. Just appreciate the appeal behind how this particularly kind of goes. Just real affable type one. I feel like there probably need to be more songs like this. This kind of has like a relatively just on the go type drive that's real appreciable. I like the concept of some of these Traverse type ones. Just kind of have like some relative pull up type music and stunt type music that's more within the concept of just kind of just feeling not necessarily like a full blown busybody, but just kind of the concept of just feeling wanderlust just kind of in mind. It has supposed this in particular as far as that particular kind of goes, but it is a nightclub gem also. I just feel like this is a nice one to hear out and about, just kind of some thrills just kind of get you excited. I would definitely feel like, so it's a nice one. But yeah, basically all five of the Pitbull singles are pretty wicked and kick ass. I would definitely feel like these really send off the album in a lot of ways, and I feel like this is definitely a pretty impactful album. This really has the aspect just behind in the particular concept of some of this. This really, I guess, Lil Scrappy was on the song That's Nasty, by the way. I guess I wasn't paying attention enough. I did like that particular song, just being able to say that that's a pretty good concept, kind of get him on there as far as that pitch can go. So that's a good concept for that. But I look after it. Yeah, the impact of this album is in 2004. This was definitely state of the art and ahead of the times as far as some of this crazy type stuff kind of went. Just the concept of what Pitbull would do 7, 8 years later, 9, 10, 11 years later, as far as that pitch can happen. Just an excellent type concept that he just really hit the ground running and continued to factory pump out hit after hit most of the time as far as that pitch kind of goes. That's some good concepts. But yeah, so there's 16 songs in this particular album. Out of those 16, there's really only 4 that I don't recommend in some fashion. So those 4 songs would just be I Wonder. Those 4 songs would just be I Wonder, Dirty, Melting Pot, and Hustler's Withdrawal. So basically, I kind of felt like there was a weak kind of production on Hustler's Withdrawal, which is too bad because it had a pretty cool song name. Just to say about that one within particular, I kind of felt like that one would have been like a more relatively stellar type one to have had like some in between type moments. I mean, Pitbull is definitely a pretty fiery type party animal in this particular project, but in terms of like some of this Tupac type ruminating or pitches like that, just more in between type fare. He at least attempts it a couple times with Hustler's Withdrawal and Melting Pot, I'd have to say, and it just doesn't really come off quite. I feel like Pitbull is just more concentrated, and it just worked a lot better with him just being at face value and more on the go as far as pitches like that. Just his more busier kind of not stopping to think type vibes just pulled out the vibe on this particular album better. But he does manage to do it later, but just on this particular project, this did not have the same appeal. So it's kind of the same thing about Melting Pot. Like the production fare was relatively good on this particular one. Had a little bit of like a an overcast type feel about that particular production. Just a little bit of like a dramatic kind of in between type moments as far as that pitch kind of went. But it just didn't. I just did not feel the spark as much with that particular one as far as that kind of went. Probably I don't know, just didn't have the same appeal. Dirty didn't really like the production fare on that one, which is too bad because Bun B was on this particular song. Would have appreciated that vibe better if the Bun B song had hit a little bit better as far as that pitch kind of went. Really, it was just kind of like a night type fare. This is more of like a standard 3-6 Mafia kind of late night residential smokage as far as that pitch kind of goes. It's more like late night creep in pitches like that, but it just didn't really have the same appeal as far as nailing it. It was just a little bit more rugged within the pitch compared to more relaxed kind of kickback. Just really felt a little bit more frenetic just within the tone of that, but just didn't really have the same vibes in terms of how affable it was. And then I Wonder really dropped the ball and like the production. I mean, I like Ubi's vocals on this particular song. I like what she was trying to do with the chorus. I've heard that song before. I wonder if I take you home. Will you still be in love? Some pitches like that. It's pretty good vocals to kind of get that within that relative pitch, but it's just the production value of how this song was amalgamated was really poor. This probably could have been like a relative single if like the beat had been something like Shake It Up. If it would have been Ubi's vocals on like another quality song like Shake It Up or like Get on the Floor, some of those type ones, just a more R&B type tone, something like Shake It Up or Damn It Man, one of those type pitches that had a little bit affable. That's why it was so surprising. It's just because of the fact that Pitbull normally had some pretty fiery type beats on this particular project, but I Wonder just really had like a real kind of just piss poor type one that just didn't really stack up to like the flash or the commercial kind of contemporariness that it needed. But every other song on this project I recommend. So talk about some of these, like speaking of Shake It Up, like I was saying, this is a real jivey type one. This is an excellent type one here. I want to say I've heard this. This might have been in video games or pitches like that. MTV, places like that, VH1 might have played this particular production like they used to back in the 2000s. But it's like a loose and kind of boppish nightclub gem, I would have to say in particular. This has radio ready production. I would definitely feel like this is like some nice Ubi vocals. I would definitely have to say, and it's like good for like a basic night. Real vanilla type song. This works within that appeal. Really has some of that spark just within the affability, really having some of that gemmy type of affability. I'd have to say a real nice pop rap type one to kind of get here. Pitbull was kind of like an in between, like a Latin rap type version, like Nelly and Flo Rida, some of those type folks that just generally had some of these pop rap type ones. This one really feels poppy, but I do like the appeal behind it. Pitbull and Ubi don't sell out on this particular song, so it's a nice one. She's Freaky is another hit. She's Freaky is another hit. I'd have to say it's like a breezy kind of evening unwind. I would definitely feel like it's like a basic relaxer with chicas as far as chicas pastime. I would definitely have to suppose good kickback with them. It's like a smoke a few. I would definitely have to say, and this is like some gauzy kind of, it's like a gauzy kind of summer bopper. I'd feel like. This one just has some of that lazy kind of summer energy. Just folks that like Manny Fresh and Lil Wayne were doing in 2004. When you think of some of those type folks, it's a real boppish type one. Real basic kind of hop and bop just with like summer evening malaise as far as that pitch kind of goes. Get on the Floor is a pretty nice one as well. It's like a rowdy kind of club crazes of a song. I'd have to say is the song definitely has some Lil Jon energy without Lil Jon. I'd have to suppose as far as that pitch kind of goes along with it. Just some of that standard type fare, stand on couches, get gnarled, get crazy as far as that pitch kind of has with it. Just some excellent type concepts. It's like a gnarled kind of kickoff for like some night activity. I would definitely feel like. So this is kind of like a Miami fried version of the stuff that Lil Scrappy and Trill Bill, some of those type folks were kind of doing around that particular time. It's good to get some of these as far as that pitch kind of happens, but it's just interesting because Pitbull did not full blown continue to do this song. Just interesting because Pitbull did not continue to do this full blown sound much past like 2006 or so or 2007. He might have done it on the Boat Lift. I don't remember that album as much, but I know he at least did it on like his El Mariel's second album from 2006, something like that. He had relative Lil Jon affiliation by that time. But the thing about Pitbull on this particular album from 2004, Miami, is just the fact that he is a little bit more rugged and thuggish on this particular product, which is something I don't really remember. The Pitbull that I remember when I started fucking with him more in like the Revolution days and like the Planet Pit days from 2009, 2011, he didn't really have these crunk type ones. I do remember Damn It Man and Kulo from back in the day, but just not as full blown to the point where some of these were. I mean, he feels like a Miami fried and Latin type version of like Lil Scrappy and folks like that around that particular time. So it's an excellent type concept. Kind of see some of that, but I just look after it. It may be a different pitch for Pitbull if you only remember him for like his more pop rap days and a little bit more benevolent type tone as far as that pitch goes. But it is a concept to that. And speaking of more crunk type songs like Get on the Floor, We Don't Care About You is another nice one within that pitch. This is like another vintage kind of, this is like a vintage kind of 2000s crunk backup noise. It's like a vintage 2000s kind of crunk backup, get out my face type noise that had the same particular. It's like a club hitter, I would definitely feel like, and this is like a good pairing with Get on the Floor, like I was saying. It's a pretty hot song, so I just appreciate the appeal behind it. This standard crunk type energy is pitches like that. Good concepts. Too bad that, Pitbull didn't get like the East Side Boys on here with some pitches like that. Just some extra type folk. Maybe Trillville would have been a nice one. I mean, this has a pretty good guest fare on this particular product, I'd have to say. It's a good concept to get a lot of these folks on here. The budget was definitely here within that pitch. This kind of the concept that Pitbull basically takes on these crunk type tones by himself, and it works for the most part. So it's good, and it basically works as far as that pitch goes. There's some good concepts, but 305 Anthem's a pretty nice one. It's like an easy kind of nightclub noise. I would definitely have to say is like a good blend of like Lil Jon crunk and like some fierce demon time type energy. I would definitely have to say, and this is like a bubbling kind of late hit. So this one's pretty just affable type tone to kind of hear for like some night energy as far as pitches like that kind of go. This would be a good pairing with Damn It Man as far as those pitches kind of happen. Just some good turn up to kind of get. I mean, this is like a more rowdier production. This one is not quite as soothing as some of these ones like Shake It Up or Kulo, some of those type ones, or She's Freaky, some of those type fares. This one's definitely more for your dogs, homies, pitches like that. It's more standard kind of gnarled type turn up to kind of get, but it works pretty well. Definitely some good nightclub, strip club, brave type energy as far as that pitch kind of happens. And then a pretty good highlight on here that's pretty minimalist type one is Hurry Up and Wait. Do appreciate this one. It's like a basic kind of dance club bop, I would have to say. There are plenty of good dance club bops on here. I definitely feel like Kulo's pretty good dance club bop. I feel like Hurry Up and Wait's pretty nice one for that. There's another one, probably Shake It Up's pretty nice one for that within a pop rap type sense, and maybe Toma. Yeah, well, at least those three songs I'd had to say. But yeah, Hurry Up and Wait is basically like a thumping kind of minimalist jam, I'd have to say in particular. This one gets crazy. This one gets crazy just the same. This is a thumping minimalist jam, I'd have to say, but it gets crazy just the same as far as that pitch count goes. Despite the fact that it may not have like the most ferocious beat on here, it's still pretty crazy as far as that pitch count goes. There's some excellent type concepts kind of getting this like a stock hitter. I would definitely feel like. Definitely appreciate the energy of this one. Definitely glad that Pitbull had some of these dance type gems on here because they definitely fit the album. They're just overall thrilling to kind of get. So some good concepts. And then lastly, like the Kulo Miami mix is a real nice one. Glad that this particular song was on this project. Works pretty well. I'm not always like keen on remixes when they don't contribute much to like the tone of it, but this is one that actually does. It's like a nice return to like a hit song. I would definitely feel like this one adds like some smooth R&B vocals to this particular song to enhance the song as far as that pitch can goes. And this is just like a crazy summer boiler, just like the original Kulo, I'd have to say. So it's just a good concept. Either one's a nice one to kind of get. This works pretty well within that standard bite of it. I just would have to say just real ferocious type one, just easy turn up type energy, just get like a summer this few summers as far as that pitch count goes. Just active activity, just some good turn up and just ass shaking pitches like that. Just standard drinks in your system pitches like that. I'd say flirting with the ladies. So that's the concept of this album, I'd have to say. So once again, this album, me recommending 12 songs out of 16 on here. I'm going to go ahead and give this album like a 9.25 out of 10. The social score is going to get a 10 out of 10 because there's just so many dance hitters on here as far as that pitching goes. This is very impactful. This was state of the art for the time. Definitely continued to revolutionize things throughout the rest of the 2000s and the 2010s as far as that pitch went. So Pitbull, this was just the first taste of what he would do. Just the fact that he was charting as far out as 2015, 2017, some of those type years is a pretty good pitch as far as going back as far as 2004. But this Lil Jon blend of stuff really works pretty well. These crunk songs are pretty fun and engaging. I feel like there's some dance tones, some good ladies bops on here, some pitches like that, some after worship. This may not have like a worship type number, but I do feel like there are a few minimal type ones that kind of work for that. I definitely feel like That's Nasty and Damn It Man have some relative type appeal for just the relative just got done with work shift or the last for like the last few moments of work shift or just the unwind of getting ready to switch to flip mode and just getting ready to switch to flip mode and get ready to get turned up as far as that pitch kind of goes. But for the most part, great summer energy, just some great turn up, just pitches like that, some social type fare, some nightclub type fare, a little bit of residential, not as much quite residential, but I would have to say it does have a pretty active taste of social nightlife and demon time as far as that pitching goes. So definite 10 social, 5 singles, pitches like that, some excellent concepts. Just what I'd say in terms of the future, I'm not really sure as full blown what Pitbull's been up to. I know he's dropped a number of projects even in the 2020s as far as those pitches kind of happen. I reviewed some of these. You can find them in like the Pitbull reviews playlist. I'm definitely going to get to some more of these as far as time goes along. We'll have to get to some of these concepts, but this is damn near like a classic here. Basically, virtually like an arguable classic. I would definitely feel like the impact of it is definitely classic. Just the concept of it, just some real nice appeal. Very, very blitzing type one. I do recommend it quite a bit just with these social appeals and overall blistering nightlife.